Hi everyone, I'm Miguel Rivera, and this is Real Talk with Miguel Rivera. You're listening to Real Talk with Miguel Rivera, a podcast that inspires individuals to connect, build community, and pursue their passion. My name is Miguel Rivera, and I'm an educator, community advocate, and executive director of Dream Big Project. And I'm sitting down with passionate and inspiring individuals to talk about their stories, the lessons they've learned, and how they're making an impact. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 9 of Real Talk with Miguel Rivera. I am your host, Miguel Rivera, and have a very special person with me today that I will be introducing you to. Her name is Kris Ayoso. Kris is the owner of Kris Heals Wellness. She makes and creates affordable organic wellness products. She is a mother of 2 and has been married to her best friend for 6.5 years. She is a LA native that moved to Utah 3 years ago and is creating a community for women of color entrepreneurs. She loves to create, cook, be in nature, and spend time with her family. Kris, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. Very excited to have you today. Thank you for being here.
Yeah. Hi. Thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Yeah. Thank you for just, agreeing to be on. And I know everyone's going to find tremendous value in this conversation. I know you personally, have personally for quite some time now. And that's how I know everybody's going to find value in this conversation.
No pressure.
No pressure, right? No pressure.
Yeah.
So let's start off. I'm really interested in knowing more about entrepreneurial goals and your involvement right now. I know you've been involved in a few different things, or Can you talk more about that?
Yeah, sure. So my mom, she, ever since I was little, has always owned her own business.
Shout out to your mom.
Shout out to my mom. Shout out to Vicky.
Hey.
And growing up, I remember just being really little. She was a single mom. And I remember watching her really navigate. She worked in the auto industry. She owned her own car dealership. Mm-hmm. And so it was a really male dominated population. And I would just watch her go in and use her charm and her words and basically just have like a boss personality to get what she wanted to do, to to make moves basically and to provide for me. And so
that inspired you.
Yeah, it inspired me. And I remember being really little. The cool thing about my mom is that no matter what I wanted to do, even though she'd think it was crazy, she'd always support me.
Yeah, your mom was super cool. I mean, she's super cool.
Yeah, she's super cool. So I remember being little, and I remember lip glosses were in and gel pens. So she'd take me to downtown LA and we'd go buy them in bulk and I'd resell them in a little caboodle.
Oh, no way. Yeah. What?
Yeah. So that was young. That was maybe 3rd grade.
That's cool though. That is a big deal because of that, your age at the time.
Yeah. I would sell I remember having liquid eyeshadows, or I don't know, it was just glittery stuff, fun stuff. And then in 6th grade, I remember making these beaded keychains, and I'd sell them to my friends and teachers, and I'd create little animals out of beads and colors.
What?
Yeah.
So you're a little hustler in elementary school.
Yeah. Yeah. And what else? Oh, and then she worked maybe, I don't even know, 1 minute away from my elementary school. So then I would have a table out there and I'd sell Mexican candy and chips to my friends, who would walk past.
Yeah. I bet everyone would buy that for sure.
Right. And I was so annoyed. My mom was yeah, you'd be oh, I don't like that girl. Don't sell her nothing. And my mom would make me sell to her. Or, I don't remember who it was, but she would just tell me the things. So so that's growing up. I saw my mom. And then in high school, I started working really young. I remember getting my first job a day after I turned 16, officially. And I always worked for my mom too at her car dealerships. I would fill out paperwork for people when they buy cars and stuff. But let me think, what did I do?
Your first job was with your mom okay.
Basically,
at her shop. At her shop. Oh, that's cool.
It wasn't I had a role. I just I just helped her do things that she needed to. And So when people are like, why don't you work for your mom? And I'm like, dude, I worked for my mom my whole life. Like I was like, I'm not
She's been my boss
mom.
forever. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I always worked hard. And after high school, I started like doing nails at people's houses. This is kind of like a long
Oh,
rambling on, but
what?
I would always get my nails done and I just started doing
Mm,
acrylic nails. And then I had like a
nice.
jewelry line in college. And I've always had a side hustle. I've done flower arrangements for parties. I've done party planning. Yeah, and this is what led me to my thing. I feel like I kind of know a lot about a lot of things, but I never really tried hard at one thing.
Mm. Is there a reason why or what?
I don't know. I really don't know. I just think that things have come like natural to me. A lot of things come natural to me. And so I do them and then I get bored of them and then try something else. And I've never really had to like tell myself like, hey, this is what you want. Like, I think because I'm getting older too, you know, I wanted to
Right.
build a foundation for myself and for my family.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that's exactly what you're doing. And I think it's awesome. I'm a huge fan of everything you're involved in. I see
Thank
it just kind of, previous or in the past when you first moved to Utah, right? I remember you living in LA, us hanging out like so much. I thought your first job was at Finish Line.
No.
When we met. Remember, that's how we met.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that for a second?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
Good days.
Oh my goodness.
Good times for sure. I was like 12 years ago. Can you
I
believe
was
that?
16. That was my first job. Finish Line, right out of high school.
Yeah.
I remember being, super determined and motivated to want to work, So right when I turned 16, I was like, all right, let's hit up the mall, apply to some jobs.
Same, put in the paper applications.
Right, the paper applications. I remember thinking I was really into shoes.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, it'll be super cool to work at a shoe store. And so I applied to every shoe store in the mall. The only one that called me back and got me an interview was Finish Line.
Oh, nice.
And, got that job. And then, I don't know, I think it was a couple of months in, we met at Finish Line. I think you were hired a little bit after or maybe before.
Yeah.
I'm not
I
sure.
think I met you right after you graduated high school.
Okay.
Or like we started working together after graduated high school.
Right.
I started working there summer of like 2009.
Okay. Yeah. So I graduated I graduated 2009.
Yeah.
2009. So
you're old.
Man, time flies.
Right?
Oh my goodness. We're already almost mid-March.
I know.
Can you believe that?
No.
2021 just started like the other day. Now
I went running. I was like, I gotta do stuff. I need to make this. So yeah, it's gonna be quite fast.
So you had a pop-up marketplace.
I did. Yeah. Really quick though, can we just talk a really tiny bit about like all the fun times that we had?
Oh,
you guys understand. Me and Miguel would do crazy things.
Oh my God.
We would do crazy things. I feel like I have like songs or like moments for different people, and yours
so many. Oh my, like every weekend, right? Like
every weekend we'd go partying. We'd go, what else did we do? I mean, we worked, but we were also like just very in a mix and doing stuff all the time.
Right. Always going places. Just
I was like 19. I'm like, who did I think I was?
Yeah, right. Seriously.
We were like acting so grown.
We were like, yo, let's move. Let's go move over here. Let's go check this out.
I know. We were looking for apartments, remember?
We got like season passes to like every theme park. I don't know.
Yeah.
Man, we did. Oh my goodness.
Really
your house.
My house. Go to my house all the time.
Oh my God. What was that, like a span of 2 years, I think?
Yeah.
At least, right?
At least. Yeah. I mean, we were gonna get an apartment together. So yeah, with our other friends. So it was, I would say it was serious.
Yeah, it was pretty
some
serious.
Stuff. Yeah, we were trying to act grown, but it was good times, and I'm glad I met you.
Yeah, so am I. Same here. To this day, and for us to be able to continue that friendship.
Yeah.
From where we started to now, I think that's pretty incredible, and I appreciate that about us. So
yeah, same. But to answer your question, yes. Okay, so we're talking about entrepreneurship.
Yeah, the marketplace, right?
So the market. Okay, so let me give you a backstory about how I started my business, and then I'll get into that to kind of like guide you along my journey of living in Utah.
Perfect.
So I moved to Utah, which I didn't want to. It was the last place I ever wanted to be, but I really felt like called to come here. So I moved here, no friends. My mom was still living in California, and I kind of just had to start over. And it took a long time to actually like love Utah. Like, if I'm being really honest, I just started liking it maybe like last year.
Right, because then Utah, at least I didn't really know much about Utah, and even now I still don't know too much about it. It does look beautiful in so
It
many
is really
Instagram
pretty.
pictures that I see.
Yeah.
So that for sure I can tell that is very nice. What's the I believe Utah is a very conservative state.
Yes.
Is that the
Mhm.
case? I don't okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So is that how are the people in Utah? I know
Mm.
you. I think you're very open and talkative and you love, doing so many
Yeah.
different things. So
Yeah.
what was that experience like for you to be from
Um,
Cali to Utah?
okay, so it was so hard. It was so hard. I struggled a lot. I was depressed. I had anxiety. I had a hard time making friends because the people are so different here.
Hmm.
Um, and overall, I don't know. I don't want to say things that like it's a beautiful state. The people are nice. You just have to find your people. And it's crazy because the most of the friends that I have here and that I've made aren't even from Utah. I think I have
Really?
like one really good friend who's from Utah, but she like doesn't act like she's from Utah. But the people are the thing is that it's very enriched in like Mormon culture. There's a lot of like white people everywhere. There's not a lot of diversity at all.
Hmm.
And that was really
Completely
hard.
opposite of California.
Yeah, completely different. The food, oh my gosh, took me like forever to actually want to try new places because I was so disappointed at every single place I tried. You know how I am. I'm like
Yeah.
dramatic and like, have strong opinions about things. But so it was hard. Okay, so basically I moved here. When we moved here, I realized that the weather was like really dry. I would get sore throats all the time. Me and my family were like always sick and having sore throats. That's when I started making the elderberry syrup because I'm very
Right.
anal about like ingredients. I'm very anal about like things that are organic. And I found a recipe that I didn't love. I'm like, oh, this could taste way better. And I just refined the recipe. Me and my
Hmm.
family were taking it for 2 years straight. And my grandma, who was also taking it, was like, you have to sell this. And I was like, oh crap, you're right. Like I should sell it.
Right.
So I
And the
started
reason
selling
why
that.
the reason why she brought up you selling it was because of the benefits, because of the taste, or like
Because
what?
of the taste, because of the benefits, and because Utah's very delayed on things. Like, for example,
Okay.
like we'll talk about my market, but like being inclusive and including other like races and religions is like starting to become trending in Utah.
Mm. People are
So
starting to
organic,
pick up on
yeah,
that.
organic, natural wellness products in Utah when I first came here 3 years ago was like I couldn't find like not even an acai bowl place. Like there was nothing.
Wow.
Yeah. Like there's
Wow.
just barely juice bars popping up. So they're kind of delayed. So I was like, I'm not going to pay like $18 for like a tiny bottle of elderberry syrup. Let me just make my own. So I started doing that. And that's how I started my wellness company. And then I got into other products and yeah, and I love it. I'm passionate about it. I'm studying herbalism as well. And I want to just be able to heal people naturally. I
Mm.
want to be able to help people. I had a dream and I was like thinking about like whether I should get into herbalism. And I had a dream that like, this is so dramatic, but whatever, that the world was like ending and like we were fleeing from our homes. And I went and found I like was walking by a warehouse and there was a lady who was like surrounding by a fire. And she was like, oh, and I went up to her and she was like, you're going to need to study herbalism because people are going to want to come to you when they don't have access to those things. Yeah.
What?
And so I was like, oh gosh, like, cause I feel like God always talks to me in my dreams.
Hmm.
And so I woke up and I was like, okay. So I started studying herbalism and I'm doing that now. I just want to help people heal themselves, like
Right.
their health issues naturally.
Hmm. And that's
Um,
exactly what you're doing. I
yeah.
see so many people, as far as what you're sharing and what I'm seeing online, so many people reposting photos of themselves with your products, which I think is awesome, right?
Yeah.
And then that what you were selling at the market, the
Yeah.
pop-up that you
Yeah.
were
The
at?
pop-up market. Yeah. So I started doing markets like, farmers market. I did farmers markets for a year, just only farmers markets. And then I started doing pop-ups and I
Mm.
met a friend, which is so crazy. God works in like crazy ways. But I met a, a girl or a woman, not a girl. I met a woman who's my age and her daughter goes to the same preschool as my son, as Kanoi goes to, as my son. And she just enrolled her daughter and like we met and I was like, oh my gosh, like I want to talk to this girl. Her energy seems good. Started talking to her. I realized that she makes her own natural skincare and she
Mm.
has her own business. So I'm like, what? Like, that's so cool. We
Yeah.
bonded instantly because we both make our own things from home. And she introduced me to like communities in Utah, like different communities in Utah for like entrepreneurs. And we realized that at most places that we would go to, we were the only people of color.
Really?
Yeah.
And was she already living in Utah for a little
She's been
while?
living in Utah for about 7 years, maybe, or
Okay.
6, maybe 5. I don't know, somewhere around that line. And it's just hard because there's not a lot of people in Utah who are educated about culture, about different cultures,
It's not
about
culturally competent or aware.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. I think that's pretty important.
yeah,
Just to be aware of different cultures, be exposed to that, and just being open-minded, I think definitely reveals a lot of opportunities and,
yeah,
relationships, business, so many different things. But I can see
yeah.
why, that was a challenge, especially coming from California and the person you are, just social and
Yeah.
wanting to be active and involved. So
Yeah.
where specifically in Utah are you seeing all of this?
So this is more Utah. So there's two like main areas in Utah. So there's Salt Lake, which is like more trendy and there's more diversity. And I live in Utah County, which is like less diversity and it's a little bit smaller. I don't know, there just have been a couple instances where we heard different things where I just didn't feel comfortable, where I'm like, oh, I can't believe like
Right.
somebody would say this, or she was like, somebody just touched my hair and was like, because she's Haitian and Dominican. And so she's like, somebody touched my hair and was like, oh, like, is this a wig? Just like things that were not very socially appropriate. And
Right.
so we just kind of got tired of having to dim our light and try to explain things to people. And we just wanted to find and build a community where everybody can just be themselves.
Right.
In Utah, people don't know how to, I don't want to generalize. So some people in Utah don't know how to be themselves outside of their religion. Cause I am Mormon, I'm LDS. But people here, that's all they know. And so they have a hard time trying to figure out who they are outside of their religion, because of their religion's very strict. And if
Right.
anybody falls astray, it's like people are shunned and like cast out, and people, it's very cliquey. It's
Wow.
really weird. It's like
It sounds
borderline
weird.
culty. It's like borderline culty here in Utah.
Yeah.
So we're just basically over it. And I'm like, here's the thing about like religion and whatever, I'm gonna talk about it. But I feel like yes, I'm Mormon, yes, I'm LDS, but my number one priority in life is to fulfill God's purpose.
Right.
For me, God's plan for me,
Right.
and to be like Jesus Christ. Like more than anything, that's what my plan is, to bring people to him, to believe in him and believe in my plan here. And so that's where I feel like I need to be around other people, especially in Utah, so that we can share that love, and where people aren't going to feel judged. Or like, one of the main questions that people ask here when you first meet them is, are you LDS? Like, are you Mormon?
Really?
Yeah.
Like straight out, people really do ask?
It's weird. I want to start a movement in Utah. And I was talking to a couple people about this. I want to make it like a thing where it's like, it is not okay to ask somebody their religion.
Right.
But make it a movement so it changes, because people will say like, are you LDS? And like size you up kind of thing.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Like,
oh my gosh. So
Yeah.
that you were experiencing till this day, you still get that? Or was
people
that
ask me all the time. Yeah. Even my brother came to visit, and I told him, I was like, yeah, everybody always asks, like, are you LDS? And we went out somewhere, and sure enough, some guy was like, are you LDS?
Really?
And he looked at me. Yeah, it's like culty. I don't know. I don't want to say culty, because my religion is not a cult, but Utah is culty.
Right.
So yeah, it's weird.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Has anyone now, are they usually like, to them, is that okay? Like, I mean, obviously
Oh yeah.
it's okay
Yeah.
to them,
It's
but
totally normal. And I don't think they see it as something that's offensive. I think that they don't have any other life experience to bond on, or any other things to bond with or talk about. So I think that that's just like,
is there anything else to do? Like, are there like, I mean, are there a move? I mean, not right now, obviously during this pandemic, it's a little, probably even more distance, but I mean, prior to the pandemic, what else were people up to besides going to church or being with their family?
That's another thing too, is that like I struggled making friends here, because all people do is like just like church and family. So
right.
I feel like I would never be able to make friends, because people don't really know like the value of a real friendship. Like to me, a friendship, and if I'm close to you, like I will like do anything for you. Like no matter, of course my family comes first, but more than anything, like if I'm your friend, I have your back.
Right.
But a lot of people don't know how to do that because it's only family.
Mm-hmm.
So I was having a hard time making friends because I'm just like, wow, that's really flaky of you, or a lot of, just different things where, I don't know, it was different. But one of the reasons why we wanted to start the pop-up is because we wanted people to feel comfortable. We wanted people to feel like they can be themselves, no matter what color you are, no matter what religion you are. We want people to know that you're loved and like God loves you, and let's build each other up and empower each other. So my friend and I started a community called Strength in Shades. And I
love the name, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's basically just a safe space for people of color to come and be like entrepreneurs, to come and just kind of uplift one another and support each other.
That's dope. That's super cool. And what's the response been like?
Oh, it's been so good. We had
Has it been culty or not?
No, of course not. I mean, maybe in a little bit. Yeah. Because we're proud, I think,
right.
We're proud to be doing this. We had, one of a big magazines in Utah come out and they featured us. They took pictures of the event and interviewed our vendors. And we had a bigger turnout than I could have ever imagined.
Really? So, so you both hosted this pop-up. This was your, that's cool.
Yeah, we hosted it. Yeah.
So
and we actually had we were vending too. We were vending too. We were selling and hosting it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's the same thing we did with Dream Big Project. That's really cool. So regarding that, right now you guys put that on, it happened. Was that your first one? Did you only
That was our first event. Yeah.
Okay. And then, so are you seeing any, I don't know if it's too early or maybe not, because you've both been working on this for a little while now, as far as like your products and stuff, but any changes you see from maybe people wanting to join you or other entrepreneur women or within Utah, like any changes regarding that?
I think so. First the response was, it was a community that was needed. And if you think about it, and being inclusive is just barely trending. So we basically hopped on it like at the perfect time.
Right.
So within a month, we have like a really big following on Instagram. We have on the day of the market, the vendors, even people who were white. We had some vendors who were white. So the vendors, it's for women of color, women-owned businesses, and Black-owned businesses.
Nice.
And even like I had a vendor who was white come up to me and say, I walked in this room and I felt like, oh my gosh, like there's maybe one other white person here. And she's like, and I am so sorry that you guys feel that way every time you walk into a room here.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you serious?
She was crying to us and she's like, I'm so sorry that you have to like even put on a market like this.
Wow.
Yeah. And we had so many vendors like cry to us. One of the vendors was like, I paid my rent like because of today. It was there. Other vendors were like, this is the best market I've ever done. Like people have done other markets. And
that is amazing.
Yeah. And me and my friend are both very spiritual. She's not, I mean, religion's so, I don't know. It's not, I'm not going to say it's dumb, but it doesn't matter, but we're both very spiritual.
Right.
And we wanted to start off the market with saying a prayer with the vendors. And we said a prayer, and you know how I am about, like, I'm really big on prayer. And so we just started off the prayer. Yeah. We started off the market on a good way, and we had a great turnout. The first market, we had to reach out to a ton of people. We reached out to like all of the, Utah influencers. We reached out to like a bunch of different people to ask to vend. And then we had 20 applications. And then we just opened our applications this past weekend for our next event, and we have 35 applications.
Wow.
And we didn't have to reach out to anybody.
Oh my God, that is amazing.
Yeah.
You both are doing it. I love it.
Yeah, we cried several times. We're like, oh, we can't believe this is happening, but I think it's needed and we're really excited to do it. And there's not a lot of resources for people of color here because it's just, so for the most part, people get married really young, like 21, have had a really good, like, for the most part, lives are set up basically to buy a house like right after college. And it's just different, there's things that have been taught to them, generational wealth passed down. And here it's like, people of color need resources. And so my friend studied graphic design, and got her degree in that. And I have a ton of customer service experience. I don't know. We just want to empower and teach, and even owning my own business, we want to teach other people how to like level up. And there's room
Have
for
some
everybody. And we just want
have
to
some
teach people.
workshops.
Yeah, that's what we want to do too. Yeah.
That's perfect. I think you both identified a problem and you're doing something about it,
Yeah.
right? Like you're going to work. That's awesome. I think you're obviously going to continue this, and I
Yeah.
bet you're going to see a bigger response, more change, more people involved, more people reaching out, wanting to hop on board with you. I bet.
I would love that. Yeah.
That's going to be amazing. I can already see it.
Thank you. I'm really excited. I'm very grateful. And I feel like, I feel like I'm here for a reason. Like I'm in Utah for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas before I was like, oh, like I hate it here. And I kind of just got to the point where I'm like, I need to make the best out of the situation.
Right. You just took charge.
Yeah.
You're like, enough is enough. I'm about to do something about it.
I'm tired of hating this place.
I'm tired. I'm tired, Grandpa.
I'm tired. I'm tired.
Oh my God. That's amazing though. I'm really glad that's going well for you, and
thank you.
That continues to go well. Anything I can contribute to, feel free to let me know. I'll be more than happy to be involved any way that I can.
Oh, you're sweet. Thank you.
How is the family? How is family life out there? Besides church, besides being at home, what is there to do? I mean, obviously you've told me in the past, this is a really good place to raise a family.
Yeah, it is that's like one of my number one reasons why I like it here, or I love it here, is because it's a great place to raise a family.
And you've been there for 6.5 years, I believe.
No, 3. Oh my gosh.
3 years. 3 years. I'm sorry. You've been married for 6.5 years.
If I've been married, if I've been here in Utah for that long, I'm like, no. Like then I'm gonna start to be like one of those people where I'm like, Utah is home now, and I don't want to be that person.
So do you plan on moving out of Utah?
No.
Okay.
If anywhere, maybe Texas. I don't know. I feel like that's kind of my vibe, but.
Your brother isn't from Texas or lives there, right?
My brother, did you ever meet my brother?
I don't think I met him, but you talked to me about him a few times.
So we met each other. I met him when I was 5 and he was a baby. And then my dad peaced out, and then he found me when I was 24 and reconnected with me on Facebook. And
your dad did? Or
my
your
dad.
Brother? Okay.
My dad. And then he found my brother too, and then connected me and my brother together.
Oh, what?
Yeah, it was really wild.
That is wild.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that. What was that like? Wait, did you knew you had a brother though?
I know I had a brother. I remember being very little, and I remember having a brother. I was 4. We're 3.5 years apart.
Okay.
Yeah. And
he's older or is he younger?
He's younger.
Okay.
Yeah. He's younger, but it's crazy because I grew up as an only child my entire life.
Right.
Yeah. It's just me. And then I think that my dad came into my life at a perfect time, because you knew how I was before. Like I was a hot mess. I had daddy issues, right?
Man, we had I meant before that part. Before I said right before that. I was gonna say that I remember us being just having parties at your house.
Yeah.
Like
ragers. Massive house parties.
New Year's Eve, like Halloween parties, like everything.
Yeah.
That was man.
Who allowed us to throw up house parties in high school though?
Oh my goodness.
Like our parents are gone for the weekend. Like let's get a DJ, like
a keg, everything.
How did I get my alcohol? Who knows? I don't know. It's crazy. But yeah, so he came at the perfect time, because I felt like I had just gotten married, and I felt like I, for the most part, had healed from him not being there. And I also found a lot of like security with my husband, like with Jordan. Right. And so I felt okay. So he came into my life at a good time. My dad, since then, he lives in Mexico. I've been to Mexico twice. I got to reconnect with my whole family on that side. And it was basically like, I remember going there for the first time and thinking like, wow, this is home. Like everything just felt like it all connected. And I found that missing puzzle piece. Because I knew I was Mexican. My mom is white. She loves the brown men and has been married to Salvadorian men. So although I was like, my friends are Mexican, and my mom, I lived in like a Salvadorian household. Like I had to teach a lot of my Mexican culture to myself.
Really?
Yeah. And even like like
That's
pozole.
true though,
I
huh?
ask her,
Because
I'd
you're with
ask
your
her mom for
mom.
her pozole recipe. Or
Hmm.
I went on YouTube and I found this lady and her YouTube was like La Cocina de Leti. And I would like follow her recipes on how to make tamales and like all this stuff. So it was nice to be connected to my Mexican roots.
Right.
And we've been back twice. My kids have all gone and Jordan
Oh,
loves
that's
it.
cool.
And my brother came to visit right before I moved to Utah. And that was kind of like, it's kind of like a blind date, but with a family member. So it's a little,
Wait, that was the first time?
I like met him. And
Oh, okay.
before he moved, my brother came to visit California. And so it's kind of like a get to know you, kind of
Mm,
meet you type of thing. And he just came last week for like 5 days and we look so much alike. Have you seen a
really?
picture of him? Oh my gosh, it's crazy. Like, and I've never looked like anybody. I don't look like any of my mom's family at all. And I've always just, I don't know. And we look freakishly like he's super tall. He's
I was
6'3".
just gonna say that. How tall
Yeah.
is he?
Yeah, he's 6'3".
6'3"?
And I'm 5'9". Yeah.
Dang, that's how you know you guys are related. I'm just kidding.
Y'all tall as hell. But yeah, so we reconnected and this time we like actually bonded and he bonded with my kids because they're older. And it's like real, like he was helping me like carry stuff to my car. And I was like, dang, this is convenient having a
Oh,
brother. Like
you
you
were
should
like,
be,
okay.
can you move next door? Like I don't have to carry anything anymore. Well, Jordan
Huh.
mostly does all the heavy labor, the hard work, or
Yeah.
he takes things from me. But it was just really nice having him around. And he was like introducing me to like Pink Floyd. I'm like, I'd never listened to Pink Floyd. And we just
That's
like
cool.
bonded. And when he first flew out, I was like, hey, I'm funny, right? And he was like, you're all right. And I was like, no, I'm funny. And he was like, you're okay. And then like the last day he was here, we were like dying laughing to like 1 a.m. And I'm like, yeah, I
Oh
told
my
you. I'm like, I
God.
told you. Yeah.
Have you gone to Texas?
No, we want to go in the summer.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he's
My
been
kid,
living there forever, like his whole life?
he actually lived. So I lived in Hawthorne on 136. He lived in Hawthorne on like 132nd his whole
Oh,
life until he
really?
was like 16. So we were both
What?
living blocks
Are
apart
you
from each other our whole
serious?
lives. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, that's a trip.
Yeah. And
And
he
you
moved to
never,
Texas later.
wow, that's a trip. Dang. Okay, so now you guys are reunited though, right?
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's super cool. I'm glad that was able to happen.
Yeah.
I
He's
did,
like, go ahead. Sorry.
no, I was gonna say, I think I seen a picture. Did you post a picture of him
I
on your
did. Yeah.
Instagram?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
then yeah,
Yeah.
I seen that. He looks
Yeah.
pretty tall.
Yeah. He's tall. And it's funny because he has the same walk as my dad.
Oh, he does.
Because he didn't grow up with my dad because my dad left when he was like 1.
Hmm.
And so like he was like walking. And I told Jordan, like, hey, he walks like my dad, huh? He's like, yeah, like super, like he has a walk. And I told him, I was like, hey, you walk like our dad. And he was like, oh, it's because I'm tall. And I'm like, no, that's a specific ass walk. Like you walk just like our
How
dad.
does he walk? How does your dad walk?
I don't even know, like fast, but there's like a little thing to them. I don't know,
Yeah.
but
Little
it's
rhythm.
nice. Yeah, it's nice.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So what are you having another pop-up soon, or what's the plan? What's the outlook looking like that?
So for the pop-up, we're gonna have one once a month.
Okay.
And we want to feature different vendors each time.
Okay. And then what else are you both involved in? Because I know you both are partnering on the pop-ups, right? The
Yeah.
marketplace.
Yeah.
Is
So
there
we're just
anything? Okay.
partnering on that. And then I
Okay.
have my wellness business that I'm really trying hard at. Through my friend, I learned because I'd always say like, oh, I suck at like figuring out a business name. I suck at like figuring out a bio to Instagram, or I suck. Like I would just say things like that. Or I'm like, I suck at posting on social media and having like my feed be cohesive.
Mhm.
And she like, stop saying that and just like learn how to be better. And I'm like, oh, like you're right. And so I've just been trying really hard to learn how to be better at doing things instead of
right.
just saying that I like
Right. Because then like you say that so long, you start to truly believe
Yeah.
it, and you start actually you start doing that, like, so it's good that your friend did hop in there and just like, hey,
It's really nice to have her. It's refreshing because I feel like I have a lot of friends who give me a lot. Like they like, talking to you, I feel inspired, or like I feel certain things. So it's nice to have a person in Utah that we can both inspire each other and help each other out with different things. So it's been a blessing for sure.
Yeah, I think, and it sounds like too, since you guys started, or since you met, you guys were able to collaborate on a lot of different things.
Yeah, we work really well together. We'd have like work sessions, and I'd get there like at 7. We'd end at like almost 1:30 in the morning, just like working and like having ideas and like listening to music and dancing and eating and just like having a very productive. Yeah. Very productive together.
God. That is awesome.
Yeah.
So I asked you questions and I want to go ahead and bring those up.
Okay.
So the first question that I asked you was, what are you currently up to? We obviously talked about that a little bit already. We expanded on that. You had responded with currently creating a community for women of color entrepreneurs in Utah, which we had talked about right now. Also learning to balance mental health while running a business, raising kids, and trying to do things that bring me joy.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Woo.
Let's talk about all of that.
Okay. First of all, just want to say it. Everybody needs to go to a therapist.
Oh, that's not
Everyone needs therapy. I don't care if you have no trauma, quote unquote, you have no issues. I will see a therapist monthly until the day I die.
That's a great point that you make too. I'm not going to lie. I think, just to add to that, I think so first of all, the stigma tied to therapy.
Oh yeah.
We need to continue to do our part in removing that because that's got to go.
Oh, yeah. No, it's like mental health, you have like going to the doctors or the dentist. It's like, it's a necessity. And there's a lot of pride. Me and Jordan see a therapist every once in a while, right? We've been married for almost 7 years. You have our lows, sometimes, but anyways,
everybody does, right?
He did not want to go see a therapist. He's like, I'm not going. Like, he was kind of like, you're the one with all these like childhood traumas. Like he had a really great childhood. Really beautiful childhood,
right?
No drama, no trauma. And so he went. And he had a meeting.
He went by. Was it individually him first time, or you went together?
Oh, okay. Together, yeah. And he loved it. He was like, "Wow." He's like, "This is so good." He's like, "I thought it was going to be like how it is in the movies, like you're laying down and like talking about your feelings."
Yeah.
No, and he really enjoyed it. It's really great to have a discussion and just be able to talk to somebody who's not in your circle or your family about things to give you a different perspective. So definitely. I'll start with saying that I took a long time to find a therapist here because I wanted a therapist who was a person of color, who would understand my struggles living here, understand my just different things on a cultural level that probably somebody living here and born here would understand.
Right. I was just going to say that.
Yeah. And so I called my insurance, I'd ask specifically, like, I need somebody who speaks Spanish. Do you speak Spanish? Do you need Spanish speak? I'm like, no, I just need a person of color. Like, they couldn't find anybody. Finally, I just gave in. I'm like, I'll just see whoever. This lady, right? This lady popped up in my head twice. So I started seeing her and oh my gosh, she's so good.
Nice.
So good. The thing about therapy is like, you
got to find that right fit.
You have to find right fit. And also like, I don't like being told what to do. Like, I don't like people telling me about myself. Yeah. So she'd tell me things and I'd be like annoyed in my head. Like, no, she's wrong. And then I'd start using the practices that she'd tell me to do. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, like she's amazing. I love her. I recommend everybody to her. Anyway, she's great.
That is awesome.
My whole life I've suffered from like anxiety and depression. I have a lot of like child trauma. I have a lot of things that have happened to me. And I just have always had like cycles of anxiety and depression. And every time I go through, like, I feel like a cycle, I learn new skills. And
new skills about how to like deal with that, new skills,
how to manage, how to cope, how to start over without spiraling because you feel bad about having a depressive episode, and in April, I kind of was just like, I can't rely on other people to make me happy. I can't rely on my environment to make me happy. As far as living in Utah, like I have to make myself happy and I have to do things that bring me joy.
Right. You're in control of that.
I'm in control of that 100%. So I started to, Utah's really big on nature and being outdoors. I started to going on hikes, being outside more. I started going, I'm into the zodiac signs. I'm a Pisces. I need to be around water. I found opportunities to be around water and I just am learning and I'm 31, which whatever. I'm learning.
That's okay though, right? That's okay.
But I'm learning, it's a process, but I'm learning how to be like at peace and not have anxiety and to my anxiety comes out. I'm an only child. So my anxiety comes out in like controlling situations, controlling people, controlling any like things that I can control. Right. And that's how my anxiety like plays a part in my life. So
Has that been helpful since you've been going to therapy?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I've been able to my mom, like I said, that she had her own business my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
So what was happening was that when I was little, she was a single mom. She had to work really hard for me to provide for me.
Right.
And she showed up to really important events and she was there. But she was also like working a lot. And so I felt like when I had kids, me having kids, and when I started to work more and I quit my job, I was working way more. I started to basically project my feelings on them about my mom not being like,
you were starting to replicate what your mom was doing to you. Is that what you're
in a way,
saying?
yeah, because I don't want to. My mom's an amazing mom, and she
Right.
carries a lot of guilt because she had to work a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I think with me, I just didn't want my kids to ever feel like I wasn't around. So then I
Right.
started projecting those feelings on them, and I started having a lot of anxiety. I started feeling like I'm not a great mom. I'm working too much. I quit my job to pursue my business, and I had to basically just make things work for me and figure out what brings me joy. So the number one thing that brings me joy is, and will bring me joy for the rest of my life, is raising my children to be just dope ass people, super dope,
Yeah.
super kind. Like at the end of my life, like the only one thing I want to accomplish is just raising like super kind and like cool human beings.
That's
Sorry, I'm like,
dope.
that's like
Oh,
my number
that's
one, like before anything. So I just basically had to figure out how to balance my work life and my kids' life. And what I do, my schedule is I work in the mornings, or I clean the house in the mornings. I make breakfast, they like watch something, and then we play. And then after that, at night, when they're asleep, then I work again. So
So you
that's
found
really
a
brought me.
structure, routine that really
Yeah.
works for you and the kids, the
Is anybody
family.
watching this video? Because I want to lay down and talk to you.
Nah, you're good. Nah, you're good.
I'm like getting comfortable.
No, you're good.
But yes, that's been important for me. That's been really trying to just be present for them and also fulfill my passions, because as a mom, every single time you have another kid, and I don't know if I'm speaking for everybody or just me because I have mental health issues, but every time I had a kid, I lost myself.
Can you talk more about that? Like,
Yeah.
what is that? Just speak more to that, because I'm sure mothers experience that, right? Like that's a common experience, or is that been only
From what
something
I
that you've been
hear,
able to?
yes, but I don't want to like speak for everybody, because
Right. So talk on.
some people are super perfect. They have a baby, pop it out, they're back to work in like 6 weeks, and like everything's gravy. They're able to balance things.
Right. What was that like for you though?
So with my first, I had postpartum depression really bad. And um it but I also, it was like the most beautiful thing, because this is a little person that like was sent to me.
Right.
And so I love being a mom. Like I remember I've always wanted to be a mom. Like I loved the thought of him before he was born. I knew that my first son, I knew that I was gonna have a boy then a girl. I knew that like he was gonna be a Leo. Like we low-key planned for him to be a
Wow.
Leo, because I felt like a Leo son, like because I already knew he was gonna be a boy before I was even pregnant. Like I
How
was
did
already
you know that?
I just knew it.
You just had that feeling.
I knew it. Yeah, I knew he was gonna be a boy. We had an
You were
ultrasound.
right too.
They said he was a girl. I was like, nope, check again. He's a boy. Yeah. Yeah.
No way, really?
And they did. Yeah.
Wow.
He spread his legs open. They're like, oh yeah, he's a boy.
You said, hey, yeah, my boy, check me out.
Yeah. Yeah. So I forgot what we were talking about, but
Postpartum depression.
okay. Yeah. So I had an old coworker, and she was like, she had 2 kids. She was in her 50s, and she's like, every time you have a baby, you're going to lose yourself. And then you're going to remember exactly like when things start changing, you start feeling yourself again. It has a lot to do with like hormone imbalances.
Okay. Yeah.
It has a lot to do with just like all the emotions that you have after you have a baby. It has to do with like being exhausted. Like the most people are like, people who are single who think they're tired, like, no, you're not tired. You don't even know the slightest ounce of what tired feels like.
I think too, that's why I think that's why I identify as a feminist, or not even, that's not why, I know I'm lying,
Yeah.
but I appreciate women for everything that they go through. And I also believe that women go through way more shit than men go
You can
through.
handle it. That's
Number
why.
one, first of all, pregnancy, giving birth, that alone is like, okay, men, myself, like you need to relax for a second here if women can go through this on top of all the other shit that they're being oppressed on, right? We can go into that too. But I'm just talking about the experience that women go through with pregnancy.
It's a lot.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. And you basically, you're sacrificing yourself for another person for the rest of your life. And your needs are always last, because as women, that's how we're designed. That's how we're programmed to want to take care of people and things, but we also were never taught how to take care of ourselves. And so
can you talk more about that?
Yeah. So, I would say an ex people pleaser. I've always wanted to please others. I've always wanted to take care of people. I've always wanted to do everything for everybody else. And because I think I think we were growing up in a nice era to where mental health and those things are starting to become more normal. And so I feel like it's great as a mom in this time, because we have social media, we have a bunch of like things to do. Everybody's always busy nowadays. So I feel like it's really important to put yourself, put yourself first.
Important.
And it's hard to do that and find time. And it's hard to, you make excuses. Like when you have kids, like I'll be like, oh, I'm so tired, I want to go to sleep. But I'm like, no, I need my 3 hours at night where I can like lay down after a shower and do whatever I want to do,
Right.
But it is hard and you do lose yourself after you have kids. And I feel like, it's just, I don't think it always has to be that way, but also it's also beautiful too, because when you go and rediscover yourself again at a different age, older and more life experience, can be a really beautiful thing. Like I recently discovered like how much water does for me, like bodies of water. And I forgot that about myself. And because I'm a mom and I live in Utah, I don't have a lot of opportunity to go to bodies of water.
Wow. That's true. That is true. Even living in Utah takes away so many opportunities from you.
Yeah.
That's like the biggest point, I think, too, right? Like there's not that many opportunities out there.
Yeah.
What can you talk about the mental health aspect while running a business?
Yeah. So I think that, again, I am making product for others, right? And to help them be their best, feel their best. And I think that in order for me to do that, I have to do that too. So I don't make things if I'm in a bad mood or if I'm having a bad day, because my intention isn't there. Like for example, I'll tell you what I did today. So today I have the first week of every month, I just like build my inventory up, and I was feeling anxiety, like a ton of anxiety. And I was like, why do I have anxiety? I got introduced to this book that my friend sent me for my birthday. And one of the things that it's called the Spiritual Path to Creativity, I think. I might be wrong. It's called The Artist's Way or something. And one of the things they suggest is like journaling 3 pages every single day.
Oh yeah. That helps a lot.
And I'm not a journaler. I'm not into, my hand hurts. Like I don't have time to write. Like my brain works faster than I can write.
Right. Those are all the statements that people make to avoid having to journal.
Yeah.
At least some of them, right?
Yeah.
So did you attempt it? Did you try?
I've been doing it for the most part every day for the past 2 weeks.
Oh, nice.
And
there we go.
I feel great. My anxiety has like been almost at like, I would probably say a 10%. Normally it's running at like a 60, 70.
So that alone helped you tremendously.
Yeah.
So you said you would journal 3 pages every night?
Every morning.
Every morning. Okay.
Take like 15 minutes to myself. So that's a key is to, when you have your own business, or even if you don't have your own business, if you're just mom, no matter what, just write down all your thoughts, get all the junk out of your head.
First thing in the morning.
Slate. Yeah. To focus on what's important. Right. And so today I was feeling anxiety. I was like making product. I'm like, why do I feel like this? And I was like, you know what, let me just take some time. I put on a motivational, do you like Tony Robbins?
Oh, I love Tony Robbins.
Okay, yeah, I love him too. So I put on it was like talking about morning routines. I'm like, let me just click this YouTube video, and it was intense. I was like not expecting it at all. Like it went through, it was called like morning routine, but they're like, do this every single morning. But it was so intense. I'm like, there's no way I can do that every morning. But it was basically having you like talk about, like, think about your dreams, think about happy moments in your life, give gratitude for the little simple moments. It told you to breathe. And like, I was so deep into it. Jordan came home and he just looked at me and my hand was on my heart. I was like rocking. I was like taking deep breaths and I was just like, oh, like and it was like, what the heck? What is going on?
He was like, what?
I know. And so afterwards I went into the room. I was like crying. I had been crying and I was like, I was not expecting, I was not expecting that at all. I got super into it. It's after that, I felt like I could go and create and I can make product. But what I'm trying to say is that you have to take time for yourself.
You have to. It's
to.
a must. You have to. If you do not, eventually over time, you will learn the hard way and then you will start taking that time.
Yeah. So that's mandatory for me. So in the mornings, I write 3 pages. At night, after my kids go to sleep, I work and I spend time either with me and Jordan, love watching like TV, or we'll read together, or just spend time together. But if we're not doing that, I am like researching, I'm like trying to do other things at night. So the nighttime is really my time and I'm an only child too. So I love being alone.
Yeah, I hear you on that. I'm not an only child at all, but I love being alone too.
Yeah.
So I like that, just alone time, because you can dive more into your passion or whatever you really want to do. At least for me, I enjoy doing that a lot.
Yeah, so do I.
What do you, I was going to ask, as you've gotten older and as your family has grown, raising kids, marriage, what changes have you experienced while running a business? Like schedule wise, right? You put your kids to sleep at a certain time at night to work on stuff. Like, how do you, what changes?
How do you balance it
all?
all?
Do you balance all that? Yeah.
I think it's basically, to me, I'm like, okay, what is my priority? It's my priorities, my kids and my family. My other priority is keeping my environment clean and like tidy, because if it's not, I get anxiety.
That makes a huge difference, doesn't it?
I like things clean. I like things put away. I like things orderly. I like candles on, my diffuser with essential oils. I like a good playlist on. I have to set my environment. That's very essential to me, to bring me peace.
I feel you on that. I do the same thing.
I feel like, and then what else? So as far as so if you think about your priorities, so my priority is my kids, my family. My second priority is having things clean. And then my third priority is like running a successful business and doing things for myself, that my passion projects, not me time, because me time's first, but I feel like as far as like managing it all, that's how I do it. So I do family first, their needs, their doctors, everything for them comes first. Second, I want to make sure everything's like really clean. My house is in order. The third thing that I like to do is I like to focus on passion projects. I have my business that I love to do. I have the Strength and Shades that we just started. And I kind of felt nervous coming on here because I used to do Instagram lives and I used to be the one interviewing people.
I was on one of them. Yeah.
You're my first guest.
Oh, it was the first one?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
That must've been the best one then.
Oh yeah.
Nah, I'm just kidding.
You're my tester. I'm just kidding. I'm just
playing. Nobody watches.
I'm just
no
kidding.
views.
It was actually really great. Yeah, it was a good one. But yeah, so I was like a little bit nervous because I'm not the interviewer this time around on your podcast, but I'm grateful to be here. And I am going to start my own podcast. I want to okay. So you know how I am. I ramble a lot, but whatever. So
you're good.
I was getting into, I had like my old Instagram, which I've had since I was like 20 years old or something.
Right.
And I
created a new one.
I created a new one. Yeah. Because I'm over the other one. But I realized that things were not right when I was having Kanoi take pictures of me at the post office with like 2 bags full of orders. And I was like, go over, like, stop talking. You're doing a video. Like, take more pictures of me. Take more pictures. I'll fix your angle. And he was like, Mom, I'm done doing this. And he put my phone down and he went in the car. And I was like, whoa, I'm being really ridiculous. I'm like, just trying to do it for the gram. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, this is so stupid. Like, and that was my aha moment with social media where I'm like, I am over trying to do it for the gram. I don't care about editing a photo before I post it.
Right.
That's when I became over it. So I stopped doing my lives. I focus on my business only, and I've been growing my business on social media, and that's why my priority for social media. But then I was like, oh, I kind of miss it. I kind of want another Instagram, so I started a new one. Somebody was like,
Unravel with Kris.
Unravel with Kris. Yeah,
there we go.
And which is the name of my podcast. But nice. Yeah, so I
like the name too. That's really cool.
Thank you. I started. So that was the name of my Instagram live series.
Oh, okay. So you kept
Conversations that pull on your strings.
That's the name of your.
So it's Unravel with Kris, and the tagline is Conversations that pull at your strings. So I started up another Instagram. I just didn't want to have to like. I just had like people on there that didn't really serve me serve their purpose in my life anymore. So I was like, I just want to start a new Instagram, start over.
Right.
So I did that. I'm going to be a little more low key. I'm not going to do my lives anymore. I'm going to just focus on doing my podcast. So my passion projects are what make me feel alive, what bring me joy, and something that I need just because I'm a creative person. I need an outlet. So
Oh, that's awesome.
that's how I balance my life. And it has been working so far. I've been the most at peace that I've ever been. I'm only doing things that bring me joy. And I'm really happy. I'm very, very at peace.
Right. And I think that's important. Just you said doing things that you really enjoy and only doing those things that you really enjoy, right? Family, business, your own personal passion projects, collaborations, individual business. So it sounds like all the cycle that you have going on are mainly with things that you love, things that you enjoy doing.
Yeah. And I have to credit that for real though, to me, to my 30s, because I just turned 31. And
to your dirty 30s.
I'm a dirty 30. I am like 30s feel, I don't know, like there was just a shift that just came out of nowhere. And I'm like, dude, I love this way. I feel like I don't honestly, like my whole mantra for 30 is like, and I don't
give a fuck.
I don't give a fuck about anything or anyone. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't care anymore. Like, I'm going to do whatever makes me happy. And I can give 2 fucks, whether you like it or not. You're proving me what you think. I don't care. So that's my 30s mantra. I'm 30 and I don't give a fuck. I just want to be happy. You know?
I love it. I'm adopting that mantra. I just turned 30. I'm going to take it.
Oh,
My last birthday was 30. So
oh, dang.
I'm right there in the beginning. I'm right there in the beginning.
It'll kick in. It'll kick in.
Yep. I'm about to adopt that mantra right away. So I don't have to. It
feels good. Yeah. It feels really good.
I think that's very important though. And I think it's very like simple, basic, and probably natural for some people, but for others, it's definitely difficult to not care about what people think, which is even more of a reason why to go harder on not giving a fuck what people think, because then you start seeing like, dang, like why do I care so much, or why does this bother me, and it never bothered me before, or little things like that. So when you start seeing those little things, that's when you're like, you start thinking like, what the hell, like what is it? But it really comes down to just not giving a fuck,
Yeah. And not giving a fuck about what you have to think too is big too.
Right.
I think that I've never been a person, and I have like faults and I have my insecurities, right? But one of them has never been to compare myself to other people. My insecurity, my fault lies within like me, just like myself, me in my head, like, oh, like one of the things that I wanted to do when I moved here, but I just had a canoe and I still had like baby weight, was like, I wanted to do like a video YouTube series on giving advice to people. And I was like, well, I'm too chubby. Like, or like, oh, like my hair doesn't look good. And honestly, I will go online. I don't care what I look like anymore. I don't care. I birthed a human. I, created life. Like I'm done criticizing myself. I'm done being hard on myself. And I just want to love myself and my body and all of my talents that God has given me and do something with them. Like I'm just I'm over myself as well. So
that's a great point though, right? Because you really, it really does take that, like, to look yourself in the mirror, to face your fears, to change the way you talk to yourself, right? And you hit a lot of really important points, because those are the things that will keep us from pursuing our dreams and our goals, and really, really keeps us from aligning our values with our dreams. So I agree 1,000%. And I'm glad you're bringing that point up, because I believe so many people can relate to that, especially right now during this time, right? With just anxiety everywhere and even beyond that. So I think you're bringing up some great points.
Thanks. You just got to get over yourself,
Absolutely. And a way to go about that can be strategic, or it can be quite simple. But if it's ever the case where if someone who's listening to this has been doing that and trying to work things out, and, at the same time, it's really wise to consider professional help too. There's nothing wrong with seeing a therapist, right? Just as you were talking about earlier, Kris, about, family therapy or even individual therapy, that's amazing as well. So I definitely want to encourage anyone who's listening and may feel stuck or don't know what to do, and it's been like this for some time now, definitely reach
Seek a
out.
therapist. Don't be hard on yourself. Everybody's trying to heal from something.
Right. And also find community, right?
And
Like
find community.
like you experienced having a difficult time finding community within Utah. And you've discovered that and you created it,
One.
So it's you. I've totally feel
Life
you
is
on
what you
that.
make it, man.
Exactly. Literally. So earlier I asked, that was just the first question. Can you believe it? The second question I asked you is, what do you think people underestimate about you the most? And you said, I'm not sure. I feel like I've always had crazy ideas and people are just used to them now.
Yeah.
So like, let's get down to that, right? I feel like you have so many great qualities, so many awesome skills, and you're not, and you need to speak high on that, So how about let's change that question up a little bit. What do not what do people think, but what do you think you underestimate about yourself?
I get the ability that I have to get shit done. Like I know I get shit done, but like when I get shit, I get shit done. Like I make sure everything, I make sure everything's set. When I want to do something, I've always had a lot of ambition because of my mom, because I've seen her and how she's maneuvered, her life. And I get a lot of gratification and satisfaction from small wins.
That's important though. That's a great point too. Like, for example, real quick, just to add to that, starting your morning or your day off with a small win, like making your bed.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like you accomplished, you completed a task, like even little things like that. That's just one example, but the small wins, I just wanted to add that.
Oh, for sure. Today, my contact ripped and I was like, oh my gosh, I have not gone to the eye doctor in forever. I usually go at the beginning of the year. I don't know if I have any contacts. I went through my entire linen closet, did not find my contact. And I'm blind. You know how blind I am. I can't see anything. Like I'll barely be able to see like white for your teeth. Like I am blind. And so I was like, oh, so I said a prayer and I was like, I was having a bad day. I was in a grumpy mood. I was talking to my grandma. I was not being nice. I was just in a bad mood. And I said a prayer. I went back and my contact was in the place. I had one contact left. And I used it. And I was like, ooh, I was like, I was like, that is like a small win that I was very grateful for.
Those small wins are big.
Yeah, small wins. Yeah. I like to celebrate small wins. I'm also never satisfied, which is kind of like contradictory, right? Where I'm like, oh, I do appreciate small wins and I'm grateful for them, but I always know that like, I want more.
Right. Or something more.
Yeah. I want more. There. Yeah. And so I think that, that is a fire that like fuels me. I want more. I want to change. I want to grow. I want to help. And I think that's also what I underestimate about myself, because sometimes I forget those things. And so just reminding myself that I am that bitch.
So that stood out to me though. You were talking about how you do these small wins, but you still want more. And then you want to do so many different things. It kind of just made me think about the importance of just being in the moment.
Yes.
Slowing down.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
How do you slow down?
That's a big thing with motherhood too, because motherhood, when I had two kids, they're 3.5 years apart. So when I was not having a lot of passion, when I didn't have passion projects, when I wasn't doing things for myself, I was like, oh, like I'm just a mom, or like, I don't have anything else going for me. And the thing is, you have to find purpose in little things, find purpose in certain moments, because being a mother, creating life is like that's bigger than any other purpose you could have. Right. Like life is to create life and to teach it and grow it into something great, And so that was hard for me to be in the moment in motherhood. It was really hard for me to have a newborn baby and be in the moment, instead of being like, oh, but like I used to like have a career. I used to like have passion, but like just being in the moment is really big for me. And I had to learn that, and that having children taught me that.
What steps did you take when you were experiencing that, like to get out of that? Like, what did you start doing to really figure it out?
I think it just took time.
Okay, just
Um,
time.
my perspective changed. My son, I knew that when I had kids, I wanted to stay home, be a stay-at-home mom. I knew that I didn't want to work full time. I knew that I wanted to raise my kids. I don't want anybody else to raise them.
Right. I remember you
Um,
talking about that with me a
so
few times.
it just took me time, honestly. And it all just comes down to what matters most, right? What matters most in life doesn't matter
Exactly.
what, it's not going to be like on my tombstone, like, oh, she was an assistant manager at Wells Fargo and she quit her job to, I don't know, be a mom. Like that's not going to matter. So it was just kind of realigning my values and things that mattered most. And what matters most is my kids. And so little moments, I just try to be way more present than I was before. Like social media, Instagram, who could give a fuck? Like I don't care about
Right.
Instagram. I don't care about none of that.
Exactly.
I don't care about even I love The Bachelor. I don't care. Like none of that matters. So I think what really matters is just to focus on what's important to you.
Right. And I think that's another great point that you bring up because right, there's these different stages in life where there's transitions and we have to, and those transitions can be a little scary sometimes for some people.
Life changes are hard.
Right.
Like, you do a like I filled out surveys when I went to go see like my therapist, like about depression. It was like, have you had major life events? Even getting married. I got depressed after I got married because I moved out of my house that I was an only child, moved out away from my mom. We got an apartment together. I quit my job at Wells Fargo 2 weeks after we got married. And what else happened? And I got married. So I got married, I quit my job and I left my home to start a new life. And it's all these beautiful life events happening, me like finding the love of my life, getting married with him and start all these beautiful moments. But life moments can also be hard on you because you're adjusting.
Exactly.
And it takes some time to, even after having kids, like you could go into depression or even big, beautiful life moments can have some sort of impact on you, not the most positive way,
Right. Yeah, that's true. I think too, like, even if you feel like you have everything, you can still experience like some form of, some issues, right?
Yeah,
Concerns.
loss,
You can still have, you can have losses. You can have bad days just because you have a lot of great things and you feel like everything is in order. You can still have those bad days. So I think, giving ourselves that grace, that space, that time to heal, to talk about it, to just understanding ourselves on a deeper level, I think is really, really important.
Becoming self-aware.
Yeah.
That's what it, how your actions affect others, how your actions affect yourself,
all of that. And that's all the time that you're talking about, right? It takes time, like reflecting on that. Time. So I agree. Couldn't agree more. I also asked you another question. Something you do regularly, a practice or a habit that is challenging but totally worth it. You said you've switched to eating plant-based since October and you've never felt better.
Yeah.
Wow, I've always thought about that. Never done it. Maybe for a day, but but how is that? What's that been like?
Okay, so it's been a journey. My friend Melissa came to visit and she was like, hey, I'm plant-based. Like, I'm going to have to go to Trader Joe's when I get there to like buy all my stuff. And I was like, okay. So I've always wanted to go vegan. I, for the most part, don't consume any dairy. I'm not really a big cheese person. I do like almond milk. I try to eat like more. I try to eat pretty well. And she came and I'm like, well, I've always wanted to go vegan, but I can't be like that extreme. It just seems complicated. And so when she came, she was like, I am plant-based and I'm just trying to eat better, but I do eat eggs and I do eat fish. And I'm like, wow, that's like, and she's like, oh, and occasionally goat cheese. So I'm like, wow, that could be like pretty easy. And so I actually I've had a lot of fun. And it's cool because I do really well. But then if I remember like, during the holidays, I was just like eating like mashed potatoes and like bread. Like it could be, you have to be very mindful and make sure that you're doing it in a right way because you could even gain weight doing it because you're like, well, let me just eat onion rings if you wanted to, right? You get what I'm saying? So it's not really, I'm not really big on being strict about things like that. I'm very like, I try to be more intuitive with my body. And I realized that my body feels really good eating plant-based. And I've actually had a lot of fun recreating normal recipes into plant-based recipes.
I was just going to say that. I bet it's also fun just creating those recipes, right? Because I know you're really
Yeah.
into creating your own recipes and all of that. So what's been your favorite plant-based meal or dish to create on your own?
I'm really heavy on breakfast. Um, I love a lot of veggies and I love a good veggie scramble with like sweet potatoes. My favorite to create, I'm trying to think. I'd like to stay away from like the meat alternatives because they have a lot of
Mm.
soy. But when I do consume them, like made a really good picadillo out of
Mm.
like the plant-based meat from Trader Joe's.
Man, I'm getting
And
hungry right now.
at least you have your mom, man. I wish I had your
No,
mom
right?
living in my pocket.
Mom's cocina.
Oh man, you gotta hit her up.
She's gonna be at a
Um,
pop-up.
she's gonna sell
Yeah,
out.
easy.
Yeah, so I just like recreating. I made it like for what holiday was it? I think for Christmas. I made pozole, but with just more veggies.
Did the
No
family
chicken.
also switch over to plant-based?
Jordan's Hawaiian, so he'll eat meat till like he dies. He loves it, but he wants to start incorporating more meat. And the kids are fine either way. Like I'll do like a sweet potato and like black bean, like enchilada or some different things for them. But they eat some meat, but our meat consumption has gone like way down. I used to buy like so much meat, and now I'm like, oh, okay, like 2 chicken breasts that'll like last me 2 different meals. Like we don't eat
Yeah.
as many, like they don't eat as much meat, and whatever I make for them, but just with meat. So
Hmm.
it's easy.
It sound it sounds it sounds like it could be a little like, do you ever have those times where you like you're craving something or you don't have the ingredients or
Yeah.
you know, so what do you do in that situation? You just go get
Yeah.
something?
Yesterday, my friend brought me like a Crunchwrap Supreme from Taco Bell with all black beans and
Ooh.
no
Oh God. Okay.
no like the queso or the sour cream.
Right. You just ask for things without whatever.
Yeah, extra beans. Or if I do what I do, like what I'm really big is I don't like to restrict myself and be like, don't do that. Cause then if I do, then I'll spiral and be like, well, I
Mm.
already ate bad. Let me just continue to eat bad. So every once in a while, like I'll have like a little bit of chicken.
Right. Like if you're
Or
gonna have
like,
a cheat day, have a cheat day.
yeah. And if Jordan like will bring something home like that he's eating, I'm like, oh, I want some of that. So like have like a piece of his steak. Like I won't be like, I'm
Mm.
not hardcore. I try to just be
Right. No,
nice to myself, you know?
yeah. Yeah, exactly. Any tips or advice for anyone who wants to transition to a vegan lifestyle or plant-based lifestyle?
Plant-based. I mean, it's really good.
Yeah.
It's not as restrictive. I think that like I have so much more energy than I had before. I have a ton of energy. And I think you don't have to like everybody's really extreme with everything they do. And it doesn't have to be that
Right.
way. I think if you want to just try a couple of recipes, go on Pinterest. And I like simple recipes. I don't like buying alternatives. I don't like buying a bunch of different ingredients. I just like simple things and just kind of create something that you like, go on Pinterest and just start small. And if you do like eggs and fish and goat cheese, you have like a lot more options to do things too.
Hmm. Have you ever done intermittent fasting?
I have. I did it for like, I need to get back. I felt really good doing it also, but I started doing that in October. I did it for like maybe 2 months and I felt really good. I think I talked to you about
Yeah.
that too, weren't
Yeah,
you?
I
Maybe?
think we I
Yeah.
think we did talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was doing intermittent fasting for a couple of months and I was off of it and then kind of on and off of it now again, but currently just transitioning to getting back on it for a long period of time.
Me too. I felt really good doing it.
Yeah, I feel really good doing that, and it kind of gets to the point where it's really easy, you know,
Yeah.
after you
Yeah.
do it for a week or so.
Yeah.
It's like really natural after that. You're not even hungry, and after a while, I remember thinking like, I'm usually eating around this time. I only had one meal today. Like what? Like start tripping out like on just like damn,
Yeah.
you know, just how your body adapts.
Yeah. And the
You
thing is you can
know,
make whatever you want to make it your own. Like
right?
I'm like not a I don't like I'm not a rule follower. Like I don't do
Mm,
really well with authority or like a lot of structure. So I kind of just take things and just make my own. Like they're like, oh, I know it's 8 hours, but they're like only eat from like 9 to 5. I'm like, well, that doesn't work for my schedule. So what I like to do is I
right.
like to do 11 to 7
Yeah,
or like
I
just make
like
it
that
work for
too.
me, you know? So I don't,
Exactly.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
not have to be as
Exactly.
extreme.
I do the same thing too. Like at first I was thinking, well, the first time doing intermittent fasting, I was thinking like, oh, what? Like I can't have anything in the morning, like no
Yeah.
breakfast. Like you can if you structure it that way, but
Yeah.
I'm not gonna not eat after 5. Like I need to have something after 5,
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well then it has to be 11 to 7, 12 to 8.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking like, how am I gonna make it to 11 or 12 without having any kind of food intake, because by that time I'm starving or something.
Did you do teas? I was doing teas. I would have like water and tea.
Right. Yeah. So that's exactly. So I would do that. And then I started having, I like black coffee. Like I've never really liked coffee at all.
Yeah. But black coffee is way better for you though, right?
It's way better without the sugar. So, I mean, I just need the effect of coffee. I don't care about the sweetness to it, the flavor of it. I don't care what it tastes like. That's why black coffee, I'm like, okay, cool. Espresso, cool. Like I'll take that. I use it for that reason. I don't really care. If I want something to drink, I'll get some water, But black coffee helped with that period of time until the fasting where like I can start eating meals, right? So when I have that black coffee in the morning, I wake up for my internship, start at like 7:30 or whatever. And so while working and having to fast until 12, I was having a difficult time doing that. So then I started to have that black coffee. Yeah. Then I had that black coffee and it was really easy to make it to 12 to 1. So that was actually like the trick for me. To really get those hours in. But yeah, intermittent fasting is cool. I've had I had a great experience with it. And my nephew, who I also had on the podcast recently, I don't know if you heard, but
I listened to some of it.
Yeah, Devin, he's big on fasting. So he dropped like over 55 pounds.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and he grew a couple inches too. So that was pretty cool.
That's nice.
But yeah, I just, intermittent
you just gotta figure out what works for you.
Right. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Heck yeah. So what, man, we've been talking about mental health. We're talking about business, family. How did you deal with all this during the pandemic, like in Utah, right? Because I know Cali was just
honestly,
crazy.
I'm grateful I was in Utah.
Yeah.
It didn't affect us too much, to be honest. Things were closed down from like maybe April to like June. But other than that, everything was open. Everything was like, of course, within guidelines. There's capacity at places. There's a line at Trader Joe's and you go shopping. But for the most part, I wasn't affected much. Because I live in Utah, it's more of a conservative state. Everything was pretty much kept open, but like the playgrounds were closed, but there's so many other things to do. So it didn't affect me in a negative way. And I'm grateful because I feel like if I were back in LA, like that, my heart goes out to like people who are in California because I'm not meant for restrictions like that. And I'm not like, I would have probably like went into like a psychotic break, like fuck everything. Like, I would have been bad, but
would have been on the news running down the street.
I would have like, I don't know, I would have turned into like something crazy there, but no, it didn't really affect me too much, to be honest.
Really? So it was pretty much like whatever you pretty much had no problem adapting
no, I'm lying. No, I had okay. Oh my God.
You're thinking about it now.
I'm having flashbacks. I was like, oh no, wait, actually, no. Well, no, actually it was hard. Okay. So like when it first happened, it hit like in March, right? So I think by like mid-April, I was okay. But I was like in Costco with like three layers of gloves on that I would like take off. Yeah. I was like, had so much anxiety. I remember Jordan took, because like if I was on Snapchat, I don't know if you remember
3 gloves, huh?
I'm serious. Like I was like, people were looking at me. I was like, no way. And so, but on Snapchat, I go on Snapchat sometimes, not really on it, but like to read their articles on Daily Mail. Cause like I'm into like celebrity gossip and just things like that. And I remember like
People magazine.
Things like that. But the Daily Mail showed people in China who had the coronavirus and were like having a lot of articles about people there. And there was people dropping dead in China that they'd show on because of coronavirus. So I'm like, so in my head, that's what kind of like made me feel like I would even tell my mom, like, my stepdad has diabetes, and I was like, he's gonna die. He's gonna die.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because my anxiety also like comes out in the form of like everybody's gonna die, whatever. Like,
Just straight up.
So I had a hard time. Jordan took the kids to Trader Joe's, and I remember like that's when things were crazy and there wasn't like that much to food, like, and we kind of went to go buy stuff. And I remember he took the kids and I like we had like gone into a huge fight over it. And because I had a panic attack, I was like, I can't believe we took the kids out. Like we're in the middle of the pandemic, like the kids are going to die. He's going to die. I'm like, we're all going to die. And I remember calling I was working at JetBlue at the time and they have like an on-call therapy thing, like program.
For like the employees?
Yeah, it was really cool actually. They offered employees 5-week or 5 sessions based off of every issue that you had of therapy for free.
Oh, that's cool. And did you do all of them?
Yeah. Okay. I'm still using them. I quit in November, but I still have some left over that I'm using.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, so I remember calling the therapist, freaking out. I had a full-blown panic attack. Me and Jordan got in a huge fight because I was just like, I can't believe we did that. Like I was really scared. And he basically was just like, because Jordan, he's very chill, very like,
yeah,
we work well because I do the most and he like does the least. So we balance each other out. And he was just like, the only thing I fear is God. Like, fuck all of this. Like, I don't give it. Like, I'm not scared of this. Like, I'm not scared of coronavirus. Like, the only thing I fear is God. And like, he kept saying that the one thing I love about him is like, we do not fight. Like, we'll bicker. And like every once in a while we'll get into fights, but we're not a fighting couple.
Right.
Like, and he was like,
Jordan's not a fighter.
He's not. It's on me. It's on me usually.
That's why I was like, yo, you better hold yourself back.
Yeah. So he was just like, the only thing I fear is God. Like, this is all like, of course, coronavirus is real, but he was just like, I'm not going to be scared.
Right.
Like, I'm not going to let it affect me where I'm having anxiety, not able to go to a grocery store if I have to. Yeah, and that's how I was. So it basically just really made me realize what was important because I did suffer. I did have a lot of anxiety. I was like depressed. I was like, what's going on? Like, felt very isolating. I live with my grandma.
This was in the beginning?
The beginning of the pandemic, yeah. And this happened, I think it happened maybe mid-April because that's when things started getting really bad here.
Right. And I remember seeing like on the news how long the lines were at grocery markets. Was that the same for you in Utah?
Yeah.
Yep. That was a trip.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Really? That's what this is? Okay. Like,
yeah. I had to get to Costco like at 7 a.m. because I was like, oh, I don't want to wait. And I was like, everybody was like hoarding. Yeah, it was
right.
But yeah, no, it did affect me in the beginning. But after we got into that, and he's very big on God. He's very in tuned with his spirituality and like, and
his faith and spirituality,
turning things over to God and not letting things affect him. And so that was a really good example to me in that
is good.
It changed my perspective and helped me like launch into what 2020 was for me. And it was actually a really great year, like with tons of growth and in all aspects.
Yeah. Especially like with yourself, right? You're really forced to reflect just on everything. Really.
Yeah. Everything.
Yeah. That I appreciated that. And I think that's a privilege where you can be able to take that time and reflect, right? Where others may just be not having that space to reflect. But I did a lot of that too. And I was also going to school full time and doing internships. So that was a very unique experience for me because that came with, it was like, damn, I'm trying to adapt and figure this out, or I'm thinking about this or whatever, my own anxieties but still, having to take care of these really big responsibilities. So that was a process for me. And I'm glad I've been able to really adapt and get my own therapy, which I find a lot of value in. That was something that I, to just talk on therapy for a moment. I didn't take, when I got in my accident in 2009, right after, being dispatched from the hospital, obviously, a lot about just everything. But right after, when I left the hospital, like I was going through a difficult, dark time for, a couple of years. So during that time, I didn't really not believe in therapy, but I guess I thought I would never need it. So it was like, oh, I don't need to go. Like, I'm cool without it. So I don't really need to go, but nothing against it or whatever, but I didn't really think I needed it. But that time I for sure did, but I didn't pursue it. I didn't take that initiative to do it. which I should have, especially during that time. But anyways, I ended up going to therapy a couple of years later. Extremely great experience, super helpful, like just for my own personal transformation. Once I did that, the first couple of months I was there, at that point, it was just like, man, like you said, it was just everybody should be attending therapy,
everybody.
right?
Yeah, I convinced my grandma to go to a therapist. I'm like, you need therapy.
Yeah,
Everybody needs it. Yeah.
Just talking to a professional. You're just having a conversation.
Yeah.
And I think that delivers so many great benefits that people are totally unaware of.
Oh yeah. Like to me, one of my biggest takeaways from therapy is validation.
Oh yeah.
I realized that I never validated my own feelings or never really had my feelings validated. And like, I'd go through things and I'm kind of just like, well, this is what I went through and I have to like keep going.
Right.
And I never stopped and said to myself, like, wow, that was really hard. Like, or I can't believe that you overcame that, or, that was a hard time. Just different things where I have learned how to feel validated, to validate myself and then validate others.
Right. That's important. Mm-hmm. Just to validate yourself, especially mainly. I think that's really important.
Yeah.
I'm glad that we're having this conversation on that, because especially during this time, but I mean, regardless of the time, it's important anytime. So I'm really glad we're able to speak on this from different perspectives.
I think it's also a cultural thing where it's like, okay, these are the hands you've given, like buck up and like, keep going, like, and you just have to pick it up and keep moving. And sometimes it's kind of like, well, that was a hard time. Like,
right.
I can't even imagine how your accident like made you feel and how long of a dark period, and like, how all those things affect you, that your life would be changed forever. Like, and just thinking about those things helps you, I really feel like, to heal.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And that's why me going through that, us going through our own individual experiences and journeys and therapeutic relationships, I think, we're able to get out of that, or even still be in that and work through it, and at the same time impact other lives, to really kind of point that light, like, hey, it's okay. Like,
and wait till you have kids, man. You feel like you've been healed and your traumas are healed, and then your kids reach a certain age and you get flashbacks of things that happened when you were that age, and it's intense.
Dang, it sounds intense.
It's intense. When I was Kanoi's age, I knew everything that was happening with my dad. I knew how crazy he was. I knew what he was wanting to do. I knew what he was wanted to kidnap me and take me. I knew too many things at his age to where I was like 4 years old and I had to grow up. And so like things like that, I'm like, I'm healed from it, and something will happen, or something as simple as my mom is with a really controlling husband for, I don't know, like 60, from when I was like 8 to maybe 13. And she wasn't allowed to take me to school unless she made him like a full course breakfast every single morning, no matter if she was running late. And I was late to school often.
What?
Because that's just like, he was very controlling, manipulative. And when I started preschool, every single day I'd have major anxiety because he was going to be late.
Oh,
like to where I'd be like, oh my, like to where even he, like it was affecting him. And then I realized like, oh, this is why I have this like anxiety. I'm projecting on him. Like and so you just have to always, the thing about life is you always have to grow. You always have to continue to try to learn about yourself, to heal it and to be better. And
that growth mindset.
Yeah. The healing never ends. My therapist said it's just like another layer, like, and it's not going to be as hard.
Right.
But you still have to, it's still going to happen. So
it's so true. It's like it doesn't get easier. You just get stronger, like in a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. All right. Rapid fire questions. Are we ready? Before we dive into rapid fire questions, Kris, where can people find you online? Where can people purchase your products? Where can people go to learn more about you or just support you?
So I have amazing natural wellness products. I have an elderberry syrup that helps you build your immune system. I have a magnesium oil, which I will send you, that helps you with sleep, menstrual cramps, migraines, headaches. I have a lot of herbal and stuff, and that is through my business, which is called Kris Heals. My Instagram is kris.heals, KRIS.HEALS. My Strength and Shades Instagram, which is for the community that we built in Utah, is just Strength and Shades. And I have my personal Instagram, which is kind of private. I'm not ready to like let it out to the world yet. It's still like my little piece of me that but you can follow me there because I will have to open it when I start my podcast. So that's Unravel W Kris. So Unravel with Kris.
Nice.
And my website is krisheals.com.
Hey, krisheals.com.
Yes.
All righty. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. What is your favorite documentary?
Gosh, I was not prepared that you were going to say that. I don't know. Shoot. They're rapid questions. I don't know. Next. I don't know.
What is your favorite movie?
I like romantic rom-coms.
Rom-coms?
Yeah.
Anyone in particular?
When Harry Met Sally. I don't know why that came to mind. I have no idea. I haven't even watched that in like 10 years, but I don't know why that popped up.
The most useful product or service you've bought under $100? Could be anything.
I'm not good with on the spot questions like that. I'm like trying to literally, I'm like visualizing my entire home. Like what is useful?
You would not be good in the Family Feud.
I would drop the ball for sure. I'd be like, onions. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Now I'm sounding lame. Let me think of something quick. Practical, useful. I don't know.
Ingredients for your products.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, ingredients for your product. I was thinking that. Yeah, that's under $100.
There you go.
Yeah.
What do you think of when you think of the word successful? Who is the first person that comes to mind, and why?
Drake.
Jersey Drake?
But do you know Jersey Drake? That's my man's.
Do you still have his name tattooed on you?
Yeah, you want to see it? Okay, show this video though, because I look.
No, yeah, I'm not. No, what? It is clearly still there. I thought it was gonna go away. It never did. Said.
No, I've had it since 2009.
Dang, I remember that. I was like, what?
I don't know. That's just like money success, but I feel like there's so many other people who are successful in other ways. So I don't really define success by money, but if you're to think of like successful based on money, I'd say Drake or like Oprah. Gotta go with Oprah, right? Ooh, Oprah, yeah.
Gotta go with Oprah. Yeah. Shout out to Oprah. We gotta get you on the podcast soon.
Yeah.
What is something that most people get wrong about you?
That I'm a bitch. But I mean, I have RBF, like hardcore. And if I don't know you, so I'm a Cancer rising. I don't know if you know about astrology, but basically I'm like hard on the outside, super soft on the inside.
There we go. Hard on the outside.
I come off like kind of like hard and like whatever. That's like because I'm such a pile of mush on the inside. Only certain people can see that because, very selective.
So you front. You like to front.
Well, yeah, you got to play a part,
I feel you on that. Lastly, tell me one thing you are grateful for.
Myself, feeling like I know who I am and I have a purpose and I want to figure that out.
I love that. That's amazing. Kris, thank you so much for being on the podcast. Extremely appreciate you blessing us with your presence and
you're so sweet.
Everything you're involved in. So thank you again. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Have a good day. Have a good night.